right, the headline says ASU students share excitement as largest class in university history graduates. ASU has been in the headlines, many other universities across the country, because of protests on their campus, questions about how the university's policies and how they're handling them with the police. Joining us is the president of Arizona State University, Dr. Michael Crow. Dr. Crow, welcome back to the show.
Happy to be here, Mike.
Let's talk about graduation. How was, in your opinion, safe graduation, no interruptions? Was it a good graduation last night?
Perfect. We had two big graduations yesterday, graduate students in the morning and undergraduates in the evening, and then we have 30 other events at the college level throughout the university, and they're all going fantastic times for families to recognize the achievement of their students, and it's just gone really well.
What is ASU doing differently, in your opinion, than other universities, Columbia canceling their main graduation ceremonies and others doing the same? What is it you've done differently in leadership at ASU?
Well, I mean, I think one thing that we're doing is we're trying to protect everyone's interests. You know, we're trying to protect people's ability to express their views within the parameters that we permit at the university, which doesn't include encampments. So, you know, people built an encampment and we took it down. Then we didn't have to deal with it, as Columbia did over many days, if not weeks. Highly problematic. And then you know, we've said to people they can express themselves, but they, in the spirit of how we run the university, which is, you know, hate speech is not permitted and genocidal speech is not permitted. And so we've just been enforcing our rules, which allow for free speech to be protected.
When the protesters were removed, when the encampment was removed, when they were trespassing, there was a follow-up where students came back and some students spoke out and said that they were violently removed, and they were calling for a lot of different things, including your resignation. There are some people not happy with the way leadership is handling it. Are you good? Are you happy with the way ASU's policies are being enforced?
We ended up, Mike, with no injuries, unlike the other universities. We had 70 people arrested, 50 of whom were not students, 20 of whom were students. Everybody was told before we asked them to depart that, you know, we needed to get the encampment down. They could come back the next morning at 5 a.m. without tents and continue their demonstration. And so, you know, I thought that it was executed very well by the ASU police and the state police that helped us out. Again, we didn't use there were no weapons that were used. It came out about as well as could be expected given the complication of the nature of the demonstration.
What is the balance in your mind? And what I mean by that is the First Amendment, obviously something you're very serious about protecting. You and I have talked about it. But how do you balance that with enforcement that you've had on campus? What is the tipping point in your mind where something has to be done?
So the tipping point is when the demonstration crosses the line and interrupts the function of the institution itself. You know, we're not a public street. We're not a public park. We're a university, so we allow for free expression. We allow for people to gather. We allow for demonstrations. We have many demonstrations throughout any academic year. We allow for all of that, but you can't disrupt the function of the university, and you can't build structures on the campus of the university because that's disruptive to the institution. So long as you live within the parameters that we've set up, you're free to express your views. And if you don't, then you have to leave. You have to then come back and reorganize yourself and play by the rules for your free expression, which doesn't include, wrecking the functioning of the institution itself.
Arizona State University President Dr. Michael Crow is joining us. Jewish students across the country are saying they're seeing a huge rise in anti-Semitic behavior. Some of them say they're fearful to be on campus. Are Jewish students safe on ASU's campus?
Yes, people are safe on ASU's campus. We have not had incidents of injury. We have had incidents of arguments and so forth and so on. But yes, people are safe on the ASU campus. In fact, this has been a great semester, and except for the taking down of the encampment, whatever demonstrations we've had have been largely within the parameters that we like to see happen, and so yes, they are safe.
There have been some accusations of students, Muslim students, saying that when they were taken away, their hijabs were being removed. It was a violation of their religious beliefs. Can you comment on any of that?
I don't know all the details on that, Mike, and we're obviously looking into it. But I think what's going on is police procedure is complicated in arrests of large numbers of people, and in a sense, when you're arrested, you're not allowed to have this or that with you and so forth. So I don't know what all the rules were or weren't, but what I know is that people were doing their best to try to be as fair to everyone as possible. There may be some issues. I don't know. We're looking into it.
ASU's campus is an open campus. Does that add to the challenge of security for ASU PD and for the security there? Because it is accessible to anyone, and we know that there have been some incidents, as rare as they are. But does that concern you, where people can just come on and add to these protests or kind of gin up some of the anger that's happened on campus?
Well, one of the things worth noting is that the apparent leaders of the encampment demonstration, two males in their 50s, they're obviously not students because they were known to us, and they made certain that they weren't arrested. And so, we see this a little bit as manipulation or something. We're not sure what it means, but it's just the case that people are using the venue of the university as a way to make their broader expressions known, and it gets characterized in lots and lots of different ways and makes things much more complicated. And so it is troubling and problematic, but we've found ways to do our best by direct engagement. We had university officers down with the demonstrators, talking to everyone, trying to urge them to, follow the university's procedures for such demonstrations. And eventually we got, most people to agree with that, and some, the 70 that were arrested, didn't agree with that. So.
I once heard from somebody in law enforcement is that you don't build a coalition during a crisis. You have to build it before a crisis. Is there a good rapport between university leadership and some of these groups that are protesting? And were there conversations before graduation to make sure the graduations went off without disturbance?
Absolutely. Conversations at every level. I mean, we had demonstrators back on campus the day after the encampment was taken down, following the rules, demonstrating and expressing their views in appropriate ways. And then likewise, there were some individual demonstrators in and around graduation, which was fine. And so, and no one worked to disrupt the big graduations that we've had. And so, yes, there have been many conversations, lots of people that are engaged. And we view all of this also, particularly for our students that were arrested, as a moment for learning and a moment for instruction. So, why did you do this? Why did you choose to be arrested? Why did you choose to not follow the guidelines? Why did you choose to not express your free speech within the parameters that had been set up? And so, at the end of the day, we think that there'll be a lot of good learning and a lot of good interacting as a result of all of this.
How do you handle it when members of faculty get involved in these protests? And I know there's been some videos floating around of faculty members getting involved in kind of disruptive behavior. How is that? Is that handled differently from students?
It is handled differently. Now, we haven't had much of that here. There's been a fair amount of that at other schools. We are working with our faculty, certainly the faculty members that know the students that have been arrested and suspended, and we're working with them, trying to get everybody onto a track of, being able to get back on track within the university and so forth. But faculty members have certain duties and responsibilities, and one of them is to follow the rules of the university. That means they can certainly demonstrate, they can certainly express their speech, they can certainly tell us whatever they want to tell us, whatever views they want to have, they can tell us those things, but their conduct is very, very important. So anybody that's on the staff or the faculty violating those rules is subject to sanctions as a function of that. But we really haven't had much of or any of that.
And so let's go back to where we started with the graduation. Can you talk about the future of ASU? Because there's a lot to be proud of with the size of this graduating class. Can you talk about that and what you see with ASU outside of the protests, the good things that are happening there, preparing these young people for the careers that are coming to Arizona?
Well, the great thing, Mike, that we're seeing is that, we're connected now to families from every economic background, every ethnic background. Everybody's got a chance to get their kid over here, or if you're an adult and you're already out in the workforce and you need to pick up your degree or finish your degree, you can do that through ASU Online. We graduated our 100,000th online graduate. We graduated our 13,000th Starbucks employee who worked through our special college achievement program we have with them. We have kids graduating from every corner of Arizona, every nook and cranny of the state, all 50 states, 150 countries. So what we've built is a scalable, highly democratic, highly engaged institution, which is there to serve every family. And I think that's what we've been striving for, in this graduation really demonstrates how that works. I mean, we've increased the number of graduates that we're producing by more than a factor of 5. We've expanded our research activity by more than a factor of 10. We're working with all of the new industries as they're evolving here in Arizona and producing teachers and nurses and engineers and scientists and musicians and everything. I mean, it's really unbelievable. I'm really so happy with our staff and our faculty and everything they've been able to do.
I always appreciate the conversation and your willingness to have it on the show and talk to the audience. It means a lot. I appreciate you coming on again now, and I look forward to doing it again soon.
Sounds great. Talk to you soon.
All right, thanks. That's Dr. Crow, Dr. Michael Crow, the president of Arizona State University, talking about the protests and the things that happen on campus, but also the immense growth and what he says are great days for Arizona State University.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch and listen to the new season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.